Hello everyone. Today I am going to introduce you to Imperious Tech, which aims to foster strategic and fun battles. So first let's start with something simple, equipping and de-equipping. So to equip your shield you can press Q, and to equip your sword you can press E. So next let's talk about movement. So in Imperious Tech there's two types of movement. Running, which can be toggled with control, and as you can see I'm running right now. It takes a good chunk of stamina, but it will last for a good amount of time. Next up we have sprinting, so I just double tap W, and this time as you can see it's taking a whole bunch of stamina, but I'm going much faster. So you normally use control for trekking long distances, and you use sprinting for when you're engaging in combat. So before we get into combat, I want to talk about stamina. So the thing about stamina is, as you can see, if you have a high stamina, your stamina regen will be fairly quick, and your regen amount will be greater. As you can see, just keep the amount of time that took in your mind. And now let's go ahead and deplete the stamina almost fully. And then as you can see, it's taking a long time to start. And then by the time it does start, it's going to be in very small chunks. So what this does is it's going to force players to really keep in mind their stamina and try to keep that of utmost importance. Alright, so now we're going to be getting into combat. So firstly, to open up the combat wheel, you have to equip your sword. This puts you in combat mode, and now you have the combat wheel. So to navigate through the combat wheel, you simply press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now let's do damage to this player. Now to kill a player, you can either completely deplete their torso or head, or completely deplete two other limbs. Now let's go ahead and deplete their head. So as you can see, it took around 3, and it could take 4 attacks as well. And the reason is because each attack does 30 damage, but it also has 20 bleed damage. Now this happens when the person is not guarding themselves whatsoever. So as you can see, I could just do 2 hits, and it will take a while, but they will bleed out. Now to switch to their screen, we can go ahead and look at this, and it's going to slowly bleed out. It's almost going to be very hard to see it because it's ticking very slowly. But it'll take around 20 seconds, so instead we'll just go ahead and hit him once more, and now he's be dead. Now let's go ahead and try something else. So let's try if the person blocks. How would they be able to block? Alright, so now onto the topic of blocking. So let's say they're blocking their head, but I decide to attack their sword arm. However, while I'm attacking, I still hit their shield. So something like this. Now if we switch to their screen, as you can see, their arm is not red, but it's this sort of very pinkish color or fleshy color. So if we go ahead and attack their head now without me having hit the shield, we can go ahead and see that it's darker. So what this means is as long as you hit the shield, even if it isn't pointing in the right direction, you'll still take off some damage. Alright, so now let's see what happens when you get a perfectly aligned shield block. So let's go ahead and equip our weapons, and let's go ahead and attack their head. Now they're also blocking on their head, so it's going to be an aligned shield block. Now we can go and switch over to their screen, and as you can see, their head is very slightly darker. So it only does around 5 damage and then 5 bleed damage. Now this is essentially almost nothing, but you're always going to be bound to take damage when you're using a shield and if someone hits your limb. So if you don't want to take any damage and you want to gain the initiative in a fight, what you can do is parry. So let's say I now parry. Now I do this by pressing B, and now say I attack. As you can see, I get stunned, and I'm just clicking my attack and shield button. I'm not able to guard or anything. And I just got parried again. So as you can see, their stamina ran out because parrying takes stamina, but After you parry someone, you'd probably run in to attack them. So as you can see, there's a couple of ways to gain initiative in a fight. Firstly, you can probably get one of their, if you damage one of their arms that aren't guarded, it would do severe damage to them, and that which would allow you to gain a very good upper hand. Or if you do a direct block or a parry. And of course, parries can also must be direct. Also, the thing about this is if you're aiming for the head, you cannot hit any other body part. So for example, if I was trying to hit this hand right here, I could not do that and it would not work. That way, it blocks people from doing things like this and just spinning and just trying to hit everything. You're going to have to hit the specific limb. Alright, so now on to the section of health and how damage affects you. So you may remember before that if you either wipe out the torso or head, the player will completely die, or you have to wipe out 2 other limbs. So you may just think that you should probably just wipe out the head or torso and you shouldn't even worry about any of the other limbs. But in reality, that may not always be the best case, because if you wipe out any of these limbs, then they could give debuffs to the enemy. For example, wiping out the legs will give minus walk speed. If you completely wipe out the shield, they will no longer be able to guard. And if you wipe out their sword arm or damage it, it will decrease their attacks or increase their attack stamina. So let's go ahead and do the most easy example, which is their legs. So let's go ahead and completely wipe out this one. So if we switch over to the screen, it's now dead. And as you can see, they're walking very, very slow. And of course, we could wipe out the other one as well and make them walk so slow that you could just easily catch up to them and utterly destroy them. And of course, the bleeding damage killed me at the end there. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what happens when I attack the sword arm. So I'm going to go ahead, equip the sword, aim to the sword arm, and let's go ahead, hit once, twice, and 3 times, and by now it will bleed out. And so as you can see, when I equip my sword and go for a hit, it takes a huge amount of stamina, and I'm now only able to do 2 hits before I need it to regen. So that can be one way where you could get the upper hand in a battle, is by slowly reducing the amount of stamina they have, or increasing the amount of stamina that they take, so that you inevitably will be able to land more hits than they can. And the next way, of course, is to damage their shield completely. If you're to damage their shield completely, they will no longer be able to block. But if I do that in this case, of course they will die. So let's go ahead and wait for that to respawn. Let's go ahead and do this. As you can see, now their shield arm is going to be disabled. So now they're no longer able to block. And this is actually very critical. If you bring someone to this state, you're probably guaranteed to win. And so of course, those are the debuffs that you can put on an enemy by attacking their other limbs other than the torso and the head. Alright, so now that we've talked about the core of the combat tech, let's talk about what's to come next. So there's a lot planned, but I'm just going to give what's going to happen first. So firstly, we already have a map in development by someone named Elias Samus, if you know him. And I also plan on doing damage indicators, such as wounded indicators, and sound effects, such as when you hit the shield or if you hit a body part, and blood effects. And of course, what we're also going to do is we have a training dummy. Now, what this training dummy is going to do is it's going to you enable it, and then it'll start hitting in various directions. And what you're going to do is you're going to have to, we're going to try to parry those attacks or block those attacks. You'd start with blocking because parrying takes stamina and is, much more difficult because of its surface area is much less. And basically, this would allow people to master parrying and blocking in a static state. And what I mean it's static is, this bot isn't moving. So after they master that, they would start going to like group trainings and such, where they start doing formations and other such things. So that would help alleviate a learning curve to this tech. And basically, if you just practice with this, you'd probably be already pretty semi-advanced at combat because you know how to parry attacks. And these bots would probably be found around barracks and stuff like that in the map. I just want to thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this tech, please share it to others so more people can know. And if you have any suggestions, please check my Discord, which will be put at the end of the video. Also, the Discord link for the group will also be put at the end of the video. And if you join this Discord, the group will be linked. If you join the group, you'll get a special role, like a premium member role, basically, which only alpha testers or people who join during the alpha phase will receive. So if you join now, you'll get a special role that will be pay locked. So basically, you get a premium paid role. Now this pay role is only going to be cosmetic, so no in-game benefits. But if you want that, you can go ahead and if you want a cool rank in the group, you can go ahead and join. And thank you for watching.